Hey, what's up, everybody? The Villain Club here. That's right, the V Club, as you saw on the title there. This is what it's all about. It's about anything and everything, and nothing's off the table. Anything is up for discussion. We can agree to agree, or we can agree to disagree. But this is where it's at, alright? Um, let's talk about it, alright? So the other day, um, I was just kind of perusing around the information around the internet here, and we have Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, right? Who's headed this commission? I guess you could say not really an agency; it's more like a commission called DOGE, right? Department of Economic Efficiency, right? Government efficiency, meaning that when Trump's in office, he's looking to downsize government, which I'm not opposed to that. We need to clean up this sort of toxic government mess, right? It's inflated. It's too many agencies, too many hens, and or too many roosters and not enough hens, and you get what I'm saying. There's just too much bureaucracy, right? We got to get rid of some of this stuff. And some of the stuff that's in the crosshairs, as you can see there in the picture with Elon, is you can see that there's this. Let's see, what is that one? The Consumer Financial Protection. Oh, okay. You got that one. You got the Internal Revenue Service. I know at one point Trump talked about getting rid of the Department of Education because they're garbage, which is true because we got one of the worst education systems in the world, and they are paid nicely and well taken care of, but we crank out stupid kids because the education system sucks. And so that is where I wanted to kind of aim towards is the infiltration of idiocracy of being woke and DEI and all that stuff, and the infiltration of that being far left progressive and liberal, and it's not enough common sense. It's just it just brings confusion for some people, right? And so this is what I'm going to talk about here. And you're probably wondering, what am I talking about? Well, let's talk about this right here. All right. So New York school teaches kindergartners gender identity. It's like, do you need to teach kindergartners gender identity at that age? They barely know what they are as a boy and a girl. They know that if they're a boy, they play with boy toys. If they are a girl, they play with girl toys. If then they'll play with each other. If they are like for like and all that, they could like the opposite sex and all that. But why does it matter about gender identity? Like teaching the subject
That
of
is
that.
something that is.
You know what I'm saying? So let's talk. Let's see what they're talking about here. Right? Look at this: Hillside Elementary School, kindergarten. Objectives is identify who you are. People express their identity in different ways. Identify or identity includes your gender and the pronouns you use. Fuck all that, right? Pronouns. All right, get out of here with that shit. All right, are we not just boys and girls at this age, right? Like, why do you have to like really confuse kids at this age? You know what I'm saying? Let's listen to what they have to say here.
Shocking for me as a parent. Gender identity classes for kindergartners. That's what Hillside Elementary School in New York had been teaching, with lesson plans including identifying who you are, expressing identity, and determining your gender pronouns. Some of the vocabulary words that 5-year-olds are expected to understand include cisgender, transgender, and non-binary.
Like,
and as of this moment, that lesson plan has been taken down.
Yeah, Vaughn Marin is a mom of 4 running. You know why it's got taken down? Because there's been a lot of backlash when they saw this shit being sent home to the parents, and the parents look at it and like, what the hell is this shit being taught in school? Right? I mean, what is it? Why does it need to be taught at this age? Shouldn't this be more of, maybe wait until after? This should be more like college. when it comes to the studies of gender, right? Gender studies, that's like a college sort of thing, right? Like they have ethnic studies and women's studies. Well, gender studies could be something taught in college. Whereas school, elementary, junior high, high school should be more about fundamentals, right? Your fundamental education, your math, your reading, science, whatever, history, your fundamentals, right? But about gender identities and things like that, pronouns, that's not. There's no room for that in school. All right, just saying. That's more like specialized classes, like in college. So if you really want to go deep into that discussion, you go to college for that.
Against Alvin Bragg for Manhattan DA. She joins me now. We're going to get into the DA race in a second, but you have been a school board president. You are an education advocate. Is that a good idea, teaching that to 5-year-olds?
Well, let me say this. I have been elected by the parents of Manhattan again and again and again in our school district, precisely because I focus on, and the parents of our district want us to focus on, real education, on literacy, on numeracy, and not
like
on leftist ideologies that are inappropriate for kids. What parents?
Exactly. This is just ideologies by progressives that you really don't need to teach kids at this age in school, when you got fundamentals about ABCs, reading, basic reading, and you're trying to teach them about gender identities and stuff. Like, you're really confusing kids at that age, and then you're going to make them second guess about who they are and what they're about, and then you're going to start creating this confusion that, oh, maybe I'm born in the wrong body, when it's being kind of just taught in school. And again, you're really not supposed to, it's just creating a lot of bullshit is what it is. So she's right.
Parents want is their children to get a good, solid education, to learn how to read, particularly in kindergarten when most kids actually need to learn how to read. And that's why the parents of Manhattan have elected me again and again, because I am very clear that our schools need to be places where kids can learn the important stuff and not have that kind of leftist indoctrination.
I think you nailed
it.
I want my children to learn math.
That's what I'm looking for, indoctrination, because that's all that is. Just like college is an indoctrination camp of progressive liberal ideologies. I mean, that's just what it is. That's what college does. Like, it's just a ground for just taking in, indoctrinating people, and it's really hard to go against it, because everybody else in that environment is kind of, I guess you could say, I don't want to say supportive of it, but it fosters it, and festers in it. So you're really kind of like, oh, okay, I guess because it's being kind of instilled, you're just kind of stuck being a part of it, and you don't really realize that till you're actually out of that environment.
Reading, writing, science. And I have a pretty smart 4-year-old who's going to be 5-year-old soon. And I don't think in any world I could explain cisgender, all these different concepts to her without confusing her. And I think that's the issue. We did reach out to the district. Here's what the superintendent wrote. Quote, "We will be reviewing future lesson plans over the next couple of months with updates to the Board of Education, providing ample opportunity for Hastings community feedback before any lesson plans are taught in the classroom." Reached out back to the district for further comment. We are awaiting further clarification. So we'll have to leave that one there. Meantime, Democrat New York Congressman Richie Torres is calling for stronger border security as he eyes a potential run for governor. He told the New York Post, quote, "If the federal government is looking to remove violent criminals, then the state should cooperate." But Ma, just 2 years ago, he said he backed mass amnesty for illegals. Is this a bona fide shift in his views in light of what the voters told us following Trump's big win?
I think it's really clear in New York and around the country that people in both parties want safer cities, they want better schools, as we talked about, and they want sensible policies. They don't want extreme ideologies on either side. What they want is a way to raise their kids, to have excellent schools, to have safe streets, to have thriving businesses, and Richie Torres and lots of other people have gotten that memo.
Okay, let's get to the main event now, Maude.
Sounds like there's a change in the tune of some places, such as a swamp of Democratic land called New York. By the way, you have a senator in New York that's trying to push to succeed North America, or just America, sorry, to be part of Canada instead, and then represent Eastern Canada. And it's like, really? Don't threaten me with a good time. Go ahead and succeed and be a part of Canada. We don't need you anyways. Screw New York. We don't need them, right? That whole Eastern corridor they're talking about, New Hampshire, Vermont, Massachusetts, New York. They're talking about succeeding and joining Canada because they are more supportive of this sort of progressive, liberal-ish lifestyle. I don't want to say lifestyle, but way of living, I guess you could say. And it's like, you know what? Don't threaten me a good time. You know what? Go ahead. Go ahead and join them. And you'll see that when you're not part of the American economy anymore because you're so woke and into your dumbass woke ideologies that you want to be a part of Canada and the liberalness of their country that's really not that great. And you'll see that their economy is nothing like what the United States is. Go ahead. Don't threaten me a good time. Don't let the door hit you on the ass. Go ahead and join Canada. I welcome that, all right? But that's a different side story on that. She's running for Manhattan DA to compete against Alvin Bragg. Alvin Bragg is such a soft on crime, George Soros backed DA. He's probably going to be out because when you look at the names that's been ousted by George Soros backed individuals, right? Democrats, like the George Gascon of LA, who's super soft and weak as hell. He should never be in office again because he let LA fall apart at dropping cases, no cash bails, all this bullshit. What's the thing that he dropped? Gang enhancements on sentences, right? Because, like, for example, gang enhancements takes away 10 years off the sentence, and it's like, wow. But I don't see how you get rid of gang enhancement if they did something on behalf of being part of a gang. I mean, what kind of shit is that? Because usually if you're gang affiliated, you're more in a lifestyle that's more violent and do more things than the typical person that commits crimes, right? I mean, typically, I'm not trying to say in all situations, but typically, that's why they have gang enhancements when added to the sentence. Because if you're affiliated with a gang, you tend to be notorious for doing dubious things. Now, going back to that though, so Gascon voted out. You go to Oakland, California, or Alameda County, which is kind of like Oakland, right? Pamela Price, out, right? All these George Soros backed politicians, you could say, all right? London Breed, out, right? Shang, what's the name? The Shang chick in Oakland, mayor, out, right? And the list goes on and on. All these mayors are just fucking terrible, all right? Whether it's the Chicago mayor, terrible. New York mayor, terrible. He's coming around though, but terrible. New York governor, terrible. Chicago governor, terrible. New Mexico mayors, terrible. Arizona, is it governor? I think it might be, no, it might be governor. Well, we'll see. But anyhow, California governor, terrible. All right. So, speaking of which, but yeah, she's trying to run. I think she has the ability to defeat Alvin Bragg. Alvin Bragg is such a dumbass idiot, And that brings me to a dumbass idiot right here. A snake oil salesman named Gavin Newsom. So full of shit. You can't tell this is you could tell. I mean, that this is not sincere at all. All right, check this out.
Today, Governor Newsom started his tour of conservative counties.
So Gavin Newsom goes around touring conservative counties in California because a lot of counties turned red during this election. So he's going around trying to figure out why, and you know, and you can see the sincerity, or lack thereof, of how he's trying to act like he's for the people when he's not, because he's done a terrible job in California, and he's so full of shit. Going after the gas refineries, but yet you're going to add a tax to the gas. So it defeats the purpose of what you're trying to make you look like you're achieving, but you're not really doing nothing. And the list goes on. Catering to illegals. You're doing bullshit like, the president of China's coming. I'm going to go clean up San Francisco. Sends a crew to Senate, clean up San Francisco. Come on in, president of China. You could be part of this conference. And then when he's out, the San Francisco becomes a dog shit mess again. Homeless on the streets, poop everywhere, all that stuff happening all over again. So look, check this out. All right, snake oil salesman at its finest.
Counties in California, the ones that voted for President-elect Trump.
He's also sharing some economic promises during the new administration. Our Conan Nolan joins us live in studio with more on that. Conan.
That's right, Colleen. So Democrats, when they start talking about the next presidential election in 2028, Governor Gavin Newsom's name is always mentioned. But he insists while he is in a very blue state, he can get along with Republicans. And today he says he doesn't care how you voted in the presidential race. He's the governor for every Californian.
Get out of here, man.
In his first news conference since the election, Governor Gavin Newsom today in the San Joaquin Valley.
He's so trash, all right, that he blew the budget of California. We're in deficit spending for the next few years. He didn't want Prop 36 to pass, that he threatened, to do these things if Prop 36 was to pass. But because he was so busy being all up in Biden's ass, that he didn't follow through with his plan to do what he could to resist Prop 36 from being on the ballot and to be voted on in the first place. Because he called that, if you vote for this, there's going to be a poison pill, blah, blah, blah. Scaremonger, fearmonger, everybody, that it's going to be bad if you vote for Prop 36, and which repeals Prop 47, which he loves. He loves Prop 47 because that's his legacy. Soft on crime. It rolls back misdemeanors, felonies to misdemeanors. All this other bullshit that really just plague California with problems than any solution that they think they would have done. $24 billion spent on the homeless with no results, zero results. High-speed rail to nowhere. The list goes on and on. Terrible, terrible businessman, terrible governor of California, and aspiration to be president. You got to be out of your mind if you want this guy to be president ever. All right, and look how insincere this is. So full of shit, all right?
Issuing an olive branch to those who voted for President-elect Donald Trump.
I care about Trump supporters. I care about RFK Jr. supporters. I care about Tucker Carlson supporters. I care about all people. I care about the people living here.
The governor taking note of the fact his state is redder than it once was. Joe Biden easily won California 4 years ago. While Kamala Harris won the state this election, Mr. Trump's support went up, receiving several million more votes than in 2020. Today in Fresno County, which was once blue, now red, the governor says he gets...
Look how... I wish I could do a side-by-side map here. Let me see here. All right. I'm going to do something here. Check this out. I'm going to do a side-by-side map comparison here. All right, so I'm going to... let's see here. I'm going to do a duplicate here. Oops. And I want to compare how much of it
Today,
changed.
Governor Newsom's
right?
More votes than in 2020.
All right, look how red that turned. From, see how much more blue there was, right? Especially in the center here, and it became more redder. Wow, especially, or actually more. I'm sorry, more along the eastern and south there. Yeah, eastern and south became redder. Yeah, some of the areas up here filled in. Yeah, more of the middle has filled in red. It's funny how this part, this outlier here, didn't fill in. And of course the coastal large cities, LA, San Diego, all the way up to like Monterey, San Francisco, Marin, Eureka, right? These are large city centers. So obviously most of the population, they're heavily, millions of people in these coastal cities versus inland, right? Inland is less people typically. But yeah, so this is very fascinating though. All right. So let's see here. Let me go back a little bit.
Trump's support went up, receiving several million more votes than in 2020. Today in Fresno County, which was once blue, now red, the governor says he gets it.
That California may be the largest economy in the United States of America, maybe a $3.8 trillion a year economy, but that's cold comfort for certain regions in this state that don't feel that they're fully participating.
Mr. Newsom unveiling a new regional strategy for future job development and economic growth, an effort to streamline programs for faster response. This part of the Central Valley, the first of 13 economic regions making up the state.
In January, we'll be releasing the most comprehensive, nuanced sectoral strategy and workforce strategy in this state's history.
It follows the governor's announcement of a special legislative session for what he called Trump-proofing the state based on what happened in Mr. Trump's first term.
He vandalized our progress. He vandalized our programs. He broke the law. Courts adjudicated that. It's not an assertion. And so we are preparing for that.
At the same time,
screw this guy, man. He's so shit, man. Piece of shit. All right, this guy is trash. All right, and by the way, he says that he hasn't gotten a phone call back from Trump since the election. Oh yeah, because who wants to talk to this piece of shit right here, who's trying to go against Trump and anti-government? Right, he supports illegals, all that stuff. How is he going to do all this stuff that he's trying to propose if we're in a deficit? All right, and how? I mean, I'm just curious. How is he going to do all that shit? So, that's what I mean with all this crap that's going on with the woke, the progressives, the left. They're all trash, all right? And it's just, it obviously shows, all right? And the results, well, we've seen the results. Look at all these blue cities, all right? Budget deficits. And crime is out of control, and guess what's happening? They're being voted out one by one, right? Dismantling this progressive bullshit. All right, so I just wanted to just share my thoughts with you guys on that. I mean, look at it. I mean, you saw the school agendas. People are getting away from this DEI and woke bullshit, right? Walmart has talked about getting away from these woke programs now within Walmart when it comes to I guess the whole concept of being woke, and from whether it's the training, the merchandise, they're trying to get away from all that, right? They learn their lessons about what it was about to how it just doesn't work. Ask Target, ask Budweiser or Bud Light, whatever. Ask Harley Davidson. You ask all these different companies that try to really instill this sort of education and culture and merchandise and all this stuff. And guess what? the woke, DEI, all this bullshit, ends up being trash. And the results have spoken because people have spoken against all that stuff. And look at all these companies that try to really show all that. They're trashing it now because it's a losing money venture. All right. And it's funny how they kept, I remember at the beginning of the year, oh, this is an untapped market. Well, guess what? No, it's not. It's a market that no one cares about in the end. So, with all that, just wanted to share with you guys my thoughts about, people are just really coming to their senses. And, when you saw that stuff with kids being educated, taught as little as kindergarten for that, come on, really? Right? That's where the wake-up call needs to come, and obviously it's coming, right? They do need to get rid of the Department of Education or Board of Education, whatever it is, right? They got to get rid of that. And people are making a move to get away from it because of all these terrible decision-making. Just like Gavin Newsom here, he's going to be termed out. He'll be out, right? And good riddance when that time comes. Alvin Bragg in New York, right? He's going to be gone. He's going to be ousted. So one by one, baby, they're all going down, and it's great to see. All right, so we'll see what happens from there. Share me your thoughts. Let me know what you think. Comment down below. Subscribe to the bell icon. Thanks, and I'll see you next one.